Hello, and welcome to another episode of Crash Course Literature. Are you ready? Player one. Hi, I'm Erin. Today we'll be talking about the popular dystopian science fiction novel Ready Player One. Written by Ernest Cline in 2011, this book focuses on a future ravaged by natural disasters and overall negligence of civilization. In order to cope, the population has turned to a virtual reality game, Oasis. One of the co-founders, James Halliday, has passed away, leaving the entire fortune and control of the video game to the winner of a contest within his creation. Each individual must collect 3 keys, unlocking the Easter egg, thus inheriting total control of the Oasis video game. But before we go into depth, let's meet our cast.
Hi, I'm Lene, and we're going to be talking about the characters of Ready Player One. So we're going to start with James Halliday, because even though he's not our main character, he is the reason for our story. James Halliday was a multi-billionaire genius, may he rest in peace, and is the reason that no one in 2044 lives in the real world. Well, part of the reason. Everyone was obsessed with the Oasis, a game he created, but his contest just took everyone's obsession and multiplied it by 100. James Halliday had an obsession with the 80s. Halliday loved the 80s so much he wanted his inheritance to go to someone who would equally love the time period. This is why he created the largest Easter egg hunt of the century, and why everyone else had to find 3 keys to win his inheritance. And man, did he make a mess of things. Wade Watts is our main character. He was born in the Stacks, a stacked RV park in Oklahoma City, Oklahoma. Parzival, Wade's character, becomes an unexpected hero by saving the Oasis from the IOI. Wade Watts started as an orphan living with his aunt. Wade is like most people, prefers to spend a majority of his time as a gunter online. He's someone who has dedicated themselves to finding all 3 of Halliday's keys and winning the Easter egg hunt. And with Parzival comes H, his beloved best friend in the world of Oasis, as well as another gunter. While in Oasis, H appears as a strong, physically young-minded male. H and Parzival instantly hit off and become best friends as well as competitors in the virtual world. It is only later in the novel when we learn H's true identity as Helen Harris, a young African-American LGBT girl. She chose to remain anonymous throughout the novel to stay safe, and only to appear in person at the very end of the novel when she is most needed. Next, let's meet the princess of our quest, Artemis, a famous gunter seemingly unreached. However, throughout the novel, the audience watches the 2 characters evolve from admiration to friendship to possible love and hatred. Parzival never believed he would meet Artemis, let alone that she would become one of his biggest competitors for Halliday's egg, as well as one of his closest friends in the game. Just like the relationship between H and Parzival, Artemis and Parzival remain only knowing each other throughout the world of Oasis. That is, until the end of the novel, when we finally meet Samantha Evelyn Sorrento. What good underdog story doesn't have an antagonist? Sorrento is the CEO of the IOI, the international UK company dedicated to finding Halliday's Easter egg. Any gunter on the IOI's radar better hope for the best, because the IOI will do anything to get a leg up on the competition, even if death and destruction are a risk. And in 2044, death and destruction are always a risk.
Alright, so now that we understand who is in the story, let's get into the juicy plot of the book. Come here, Alexis. Hello. I'm Alexis, and today I'm going to be talking to you about the setting of Ready Player One. So, we start our journey off in the Stacks of Oklahoma City, Oklahoma, 2044, where Wade lives with his Aunt Alice. Considering he spends most of his time in the Oasis, a perfectly beautiful world where everyone lives more happily than they do in reality, the Oasis will take up most of our time discussing the setting. Wade spends every single minute of his time in the Oasis once he gets to Ohio, unless it's to eat, sleep, or go to the bathroom, obviously, because life necessities, you know? And Wade has spent so much time stuck on Ludus, which is the school world of Ready Player One in the Oasis. And considering he never had enough credits to go anywhere else, he was stuck on the world of school, until he finally found the first key to getting Halliday's egg. After that, he was finally free to leave Ludus and explore the rest of the Oasis, which was huge for him, and he was able to go everywhere. After what seems like forever, living in Ohio, being a gunter, searching for the egg, Wade decides to make a risky decision to get himself arrested by the IOI. Now, this is a change of setting because he goes from this tiny little apartment in Ohio to a tiny, even tinier actually, little jail cell in the IOI. So he's in this setting for quite a while because his goal is to beat Sorrento and the Sixers to the egg. To do this, his prison setting gives him access to figure things out that the IOI have been doing to win. Wade's best friend H ends up picking him up and they head to Oregon where Ogden Morrow lives. At Morrow's house, he has these rooms perfect for living in the Oasis and feeling basically every single thing that your character feels and doing everything that your character does. This shift in setting in the real world really helps the shift of setting in the Oasis by helping Parzival, Wade Watts, whatever you want to call him, and his amazing posse of friends take down Sorrento and the IOI for good. And now, we're going to talk about the meaning of the work as a whole and how the theme connects into that. Alright, a quote that really helps tie in the meaning of the work as a whole was said by James Halliday himself. And it says, and I quote, "I created Oasis because I never felt at home in the real world. I didn't know how to connect with the people there. I was afraid for all of my life, right up until I knew it was ending. That was when I realized, as terrifying and painful as reality can be, it's also the only place where you can find true happiness, because reality is real." So, this quote really helps tie in the meaning of the work as a whole, because considering throughout the entire book, everybody lives in a reality that's not real, James Halliday created that, because he didn't want to face reality for what it really was, up until he realized that he never got a taste of reality. And the only place that you can find true happiness and true love and all that super sappy, cute stuff is in the real world.
So, what does this mean in relation to like literature and literary elements?
Well, that's where I come in. Hi, I'm Sarah Layton. There's a paradox in the use of the Oasis avatars. They present themselves as a certain identity, but their true nature is a paradox. What they express online is fake, even if only they change a small part of themselves. There are some parallels in the novel. One parallel is the late James Halliday and the protagonist, Wade Watts. They share many parallels of James Halliday. Halliday falls in love with Kira, who ends up marrying his business partner, Ogden Morrow. He stops talking to Ogden because it's too painful. The same thing happens for Wade Watts. Just like Halliday, he breaks contact with his best friend, H, due to his love for Artemis. Another parallel is when James and Ogden first wrote the program for the Oasis in their dorm rooms, and they went on to become legends and millionaires. The same thing happened for Wade Watts, since he is staying in his dorm to find the egg. There's many allusions to the 80s throughout the book, since the story is based in the future in 2045. They talk about 80s references and the 80s era. The mood is fast-paced and exciting, with Wade's adolescent and reckless narrative, an overall tone of geekiness, especially in the references to 80s trivia. It's often explained, so the author is educating the reader or listener about the 80s era. Keys and gates are a dual symbol. They show progress in Wade's journey towards the Easter egg, but they also show regression as a way, because Wade becomes more and more of a creepy antisocial hermit in his dorm.
So, now that I think we've covered everything about Ready Player One, thanks for watching Crash Course Literature. We hope you have a great day.